Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is I'm going to talk about my 3-prong attack for catching big bass just like this. This one right here was on, oh my God, look at, well, she was looking so good, on a Shadowlicious, Strike King Shadowlicious. Oh man, beautiful fish. And we're going to talk about it real quick with screenshots and video of all the 3 baits in action. Let's get going. I really think you're going to enjoy this one. I'm going to turn the camera off and get a picture, but I tell you what, couldn't have been a better intro for what I was going to talk about. So let me get down here. All right, guys, let's talk about our 3-prong approach. Now, Alabama rig is my favorite. It's the one that I catch, I would say, 80-90% of them on. But on high pressure days, for some reason, the Alabama rig doesn't do as good. Now, I caught a few today, even did a live today, and we caught them on the normal Alabama rig. But there are days when they just don't want to do it. Now, these are all big fish oriented baits. These are not little fish baits. These are baits made for big fish. You're not going to get as many bites and things like that. All right, my second thing that I throw, and it's what I caught the little intro fish on. It was a good fish. It was a pretty nice fish. Is a Shadowlicious. Now, what I'm using is, there's a special hook. It's called a Flashy Swimmer. It's made by Owner. Let me see it right there. Flashy Swimmer. It's made by Owner. It's got a 3/8 ounce weight on it. These things have a huge side-to-side roll. And even 3/8 ounce, I can still keep it up there about 2 or 3 feet, 4 foot deep. But it's got a little spinner down here at the bottom. I still thread a treble hook on and bury it in the belly. I think that's very important. And that is my second prong approach. We're going to take a look at that on video also. Now, thirdly, and the reason I say we're going to take a look at the video of them, because they all put out a different signature. They all put out a different signature on the Livescope. And what's crazy is the biggest bait of them all God. What's crazy is the biggest bait of them all, the Castaic Swimmer, puts out the smallest signature. But this is the most shallow bait, and the wobble on it is insane. It'll dang near turn upside down. So if they're real sluggish, this is the bait. If they're active, of course, the A-rig is the bait. But today, the bait that caught most of the fish, and caught that real big one, that was a good fish, was the Strike King Shadowlicious. It is one of my other go-to baits. This is simply, and you can see how scratched up and beat up it is from today. This is one of my go-to baits. It's simply Sexy Shad. It's the old normal Sexy Shad that's caught so many fish. It is that. But so guys, that is my go-to, the 3 go-to baits when I'm fishing cypress trees and I'm targeting big fish. I like to target big fish. I'm a big fish guy. That's what I got Livescope for. I can catch little fish going down the bank with a spinner bait every day of the week, but I target big fish. And I go after big fish, and those 3 baits right there will help you. I gotta say, there's been very few trips in the last couple of years where I ain't caught a 4, 5, 6 pounder, 7 or 8 pounders. I just don't go many trips where I don't catch big fish. It's because I target big fish. Not that I'm a better fisherman than anybody else, but I target those fish. And let's take a look at these videos and see what each one of them looks like on video. And then we'll talk about stuff like that during the video. But guys, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and you know you've got to ring that bell. All right, so we're going to look at all 3 baits. The first is a Umbrella rig. It puts off a large sonar return, sonar impression. On days where they're active, they don't mind that large sonar return. Umbrella rig puts out a very large sonar return. Look at it right there. Just huge sonar returns. You're going to see it coming across the bottom of the screen. It's coming into the screen right about now. It's coming through all the cypress trees, and it puts off a huge return. Remember, ultrasound and Livescope are essentially the same thing. Secondly, we're talking about a Shadowlicious. It's a Strike King Shadowlicious. It's a medium-sized crankbait, but it puts off a fairly large, but it's smaller than a umbrella rig, but more than a castaic swim bait. Look at it. Nice return right there, coming across the bottom right there. You can see it. On days where they're not quite as active, that's the one to use. But the ones where they're not active at all, the high pressure system, but you still want to use a swim bait to catch and target those bigger fish, the castaic swim bait is the one. Now notice, it has a very weird sonar pressure. It's going to be up in that top 1 to 2 foot of the water column. But it's just a weird sonar impression. You'll notice right here that it almost looks like 2 or 3 baits coming, but it's just one right there about the 10 foot mark.